Hey Korbanth Saber fans, here is part 2 to the duo of the Son of Skywalker, Ben Skywalker, and the Darth Caedus Jade Slayer instruction version videos. In today's video, we've, like I said, got the Son of Skywalker, Ben Skywalker saber from Legends and Legends Comics. We're going to unbox it, show you guys how to get to the chassis, go over the saber itself, show how everything works, all the features, and then at the end, some of the awesome sound fonts. Now, right out of the box, you might be able to tell it's very reminiscent of Luke Skywalker's saber, the hero version from Return of the Jedi, and of course the V2 or stunt version as well. You've got the nice thin neck version up here, the retention port area, the emitter guard, which is great for wielding, especially if you have big, thick hands like me. It's a great guard. And you've got your stripe sections right here, not as many sections as like the hero prop does. Then, of course, you've got the clamp section here with the activation box, the little greeblies on the side, which give it a nice touch. And then the part that, in my opinion, looks almost exactly like Luke Skywalker's hero prop is the cubed pommel section. If I tilt it up, you've got the perfect sound vented pommel. Now, when you first want to get to the chassis to go ahead and test it, you just unscrew the back end pommel. And I forgot to mention, we do have the nice D-ring here that is very snug in there, so it's not going to smack your saber back and forth when you're going to wield it. And we do have a spacer in there, so make sure that stays in at all times so that your chassis stays snug in there when you're going to use it, and even if it's just on display. Then to get to the chassis itself, just like the Darth Caedus Jade Slayer that we previously did the instructional video for, you're going to have to give some force to it to get the chassis out because it's snugly in there. And there's your nice crystal reveal chassis. It's very similar to the Jade Slayer one. You just have your kill switch right here. And once you can see that it's working after the kill switch, then you're going to want to test it with one of the buttons. Once you've tested it just like that, we really highly recommend that you take the battery out of its port here and place it into the charger that we provide for you with the saber. The reason we want you to do that is we only send the batteries out with about a 2% charge. And in order to have an adequate charge each time you go to use the saber moving forward, you need to give it a good 8 to 10 hour overnight charge. Then, what's also really important is when you go to put the battery back in the port, it's very important that you line plus to plus and minus to minus. The way I remember that is nub to nub and flat to flat. If you do it wrong, it could short circuit the Proffieboard, and then of course your saber would no longer work and you'd probably be very disappointed. So be very careful when you're putting the battery back in. Then once you're all good to go, with the battery being charged and everything, you're going to want to find the two buttons here on the chassis and the control section on the hilt itself. Line those two parts up. It only goes in one way, as you can see with the groove here. So find the groove, make sure the buttons line up, and then before you put the pommel cover back on, test it with the bottom portion. Then once you see it's working, again, make sure that the spacer in there stays inside the pommel cover, and then go ahead and screw it back on. And again, just to make sure everything's all lined up, test it one more time. All right, that is about all you guys need to know to put the chassis in, remove the chassis, access the kill switch, and all the typical battery information. Let's get to showing you how this 2-button Ben Skywalker lightsaber works. Now, as I mentioned, this is a 2-button saber, so the activation is going to be down here, and the auxiliary is going to be up here on this portion. But obviously, first you have to put your 1-inch NeoPixel blade in. So to make sure your blade can go in, you're going to want to check the emitter to see if your retention screw is sticking out any. And as you can see on mine right here, it is. So you're going to want to unscrew that so that the blade can fit in, and then of course screw it back in when the blade is snug touching the pin. So as you guys can now see, I've unscrewed it a little bit so that the retention screw is not in the way of the blade. Then to make sure the blade can go in, you just simply turn it on. Make sure the blade connects to the pins and it's all lit up in there. Then once you've done that, you're going to want to take your retention screw. Take your retention screw and your Allen key right here. Hold the blade with one part of your hand and the hilt with the other part, and then screw in the retention screw like so. Don't tighten it too tight, otherwise you could strip the screw and then you would no longer have any way of getting the blade in the hilt. Then once you've done that, you're all good to go. And as you've seen already, to work it, you just press the lower portion of this clamp card right here. While it's on, to activate blaster deflect, you just tap the auxiliary button, which obviously, as you guys have seen, is going to be the top portion of the control card. Now, since it's a 2-button saber, to activate blade lockup, all you do is just press and hold the auxiliary button. Then when you want to release it, just release. While it's on, to activate effects or quotes, you just double tap the main power button. Not sure if you guys can hear that or not. Then to power it off, you can either press and hold until it deactivates, or you can just simply flick your wrist and activate gesture control. To activate music, all you do is press and hold the main power button for about 1.5 seconds. Same thing to turn it off. Then to switch fonts, you just briefly press the auxiliary button here.
I have a bad feeling about this.
And that's about all you need to know. Now let's go through some more of the exclusive sound fonts.
Training to become a Jedi is not an easy challenge. And even if you succeed, it's a hard life. Two there are, a master and an apprentice. No.
Obi-Wan is a great mentor. As wise as Master Yoda. I'm in charge of security here, my lady.
Surely you can do better.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground! I do not fear the dark side as you do.
At an end, your rule is... I don't think so. Good. Twice the pride, double the fall.
There's nothing for me here now. I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
Alas, the Jedi are no more.
All right, you guys, that is just a small touch of some of the exclusive sound fonts. In total, there are about 25 to 30 on there, and no other company has those, so they're very exclusive to us here at Korbanth. If you guys have any questions about things I went through in this video, or this saber itself, or perhaps the Jade Slayer counterpart, please ask those down below in the comments. Both this saber and its Jade Slayer Darth Caedus counterpart are released. You can buy them separate in empty or installed, or together, and use code Bloodline20 to get 20% off your purchase if you buy them together in the Bloodline bundle. As I always say, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.